Hello, and welcome back to the Film Posers YouTube channel. My name is Josie, and today we are going to be talking about Nomadland along with my co-hosts Juan Mojica and Gabriela Burgos. And today this conversation is going to be led by me. So, just to kick us off, I just wanted to get into general reactions, but before that, Nomadland was released February 19th on Hulu for streaming, and it is written, directed, produced, and edited by Chloe Zhao, who is a frontrunner for Best Director this year for award season as well. Nomadland is garnering a lot of attention for award season as well. So, a little bit about the film. I'm going to read the summary. A woman in her 60s embarks on a journey through the Western United States after losing everything in the Great Recession, living as a van dwelling modern day nomad. So, a little bit about this film is that it criticizes a lot about capitalism specifically and just the workforce, as well as just the meaning of life, which we like to get into a lot. So, I'm gonna throw it over to Gabriela. What was your general reaction to this film?
So I was really excited for this film. Again, it had been garnering a lot of attention since premiering at numerous film festivals back in 2020, and the rumors of this is like a potential Oscar frontrunner in terms of best film and director, which would make Chloe Zhao like the first Asian American woman to be nominated in the category and perhaps even win, which is huge. And obviously, here at Film Posers, we love women in film, we love supporting women in film. So, right off the bat, I needed to watch this film. I just needed to watch it. And so, we were lucky enough to get a screener, which very grateful for it. And I loved it. I loved this film, like not only in terms of directing, because the directing is obviously impeccable, the cinematography stunning, the music, everything, but the story in itself really hit hard for me, because you hear about these types of things, something that is it's real life, and you hear about them, but what impacted me the most is that in this film the only actress is Frances McDormand, and the rest of the nomads are real life nomads, so they're telling their real life stories. It's not made up. And it just really hit hard how wow these people, and you feel bad that this is what their life has come to, that they live in a van and that's all they have, but some of them are so satisfied with living that way. And then you obviously think about the life that you lead. If you were to lose everything, that like what happened to them, would you be happy? Would you be able to find happiness in your new circumstance? And it just made me think a lot about it, and I loved it. And really, I can't say really much because I get really emotional talking about this film. Like Josie can attest how there was a scene in the film, I'm not gonna spoil you. There was a scene in the film that hit me so hard that I sent her a voice of me crying. And I think about that scene, and
Yes, I can attest to that.
I get really emotional about that scene. So I really don't want to talk about it much because I don't want to go on crying on YouTube. But I loved it. It hit hard for me. For me, it got the message across. And it's definitely one of my top picks for Best Picture, because honestly, this year I'm rooting for the women. Like all of the women who are nominated, I'm gonna root for them equally, because we need more women in film. And this year they made incredible films. So Nomadland is one of my front runners for Best Picture, and hopefully we have Oscar winner Chloe Zhao. Hopefully, fingers crossed. If we don't get that, I'm gonna be really pissed. But yeah, those are my general thoughts. I loved it.
Juan, what about you?
So I was watching this with the intention of catching up with the award season. I heard a lot of hype, and I was very intrigued to see what Chloe Zhao delivered because of all of the good things I was hearing about it. And I'll be completely honest, if you know me, you know I'm not a slow burn kind of person, and it didn't hit me as much. Like it maybe wasn't for me. I'm gonna chalk it up to maybe I wasn't in the right mood to watch it. Um, I just couldn't get into it, but by no means does that mean it's a bad movie. Quite the contrary. Like Gabriela said, a lot of the choices Chloe Zhao made were extremely well done. I think the highlights were the directing, the cinematography, the score. This film has a lot of heart to it, and I like that this is a film that has a specific audience in mind, and I like that it's finding that audience. Um, Honestly, it just wasn't for me, but I still think it's a good movie overall, and I do want to see Chloe Zhao take that directing Oscar because I do feel she's deserved it. She's deserves it. It was so well done what she did, and really, I like the perspective of an actual nomad who lives in their van in the movie. I thought that was a very strong choice because you could have cast, a couple of people to play those roles, but it brings that authenticity um, to the film, and it really just works in her favor. And honestly, it is a good movie. It's just not going to be for everyone, honestly, because you have to be, I feel, intrigued by the premise, or you just really, after the trailer, are like, I need to see this now. So it happens. It does happen because I've seen a couple of reviews that saying this wasn't for them, but it's still good. So yeah, you kind of have like two sides of the coin here. If you like slow burns, you're probably gonna end up like Gabriela and crying through most of it. And if you don't, well, it's still a vibe. It's still a good vibe overall.
The good thing about this film is that a great way to summarize it when recommending it is that it's very familiar to Inside Llewyn Davis, which a lot of people do enjoy. Gabriela and I weren't the biggest fans of that film, but there is a lot to admire and a lot to take away from it. And I think this film balances out well, taking a lot of the good from that film by having the stunning cinematography by Joshua James Richards. It complements it very well, and just for me, the way I describe this film is that it's has mesmerizing stillness, despite the fact that it is a film about movement and never truly landing. So that is the best way I can describe this film. Now, real quick, we're gonna share with you what was our favorite part of the film and what was our least favorite part of the film, and I'm gonna give it back to Juan.
So for me, aside from the directing, I feel the score was just hypnotic. Like I was in a trance throughout the entire film when it was going. So I love that. But I also thought the cinematography was just like amazing. Like you said, it's so good. It's so visually appealing that I'm here like, okay, I'm kind of getting into it, but not fully, but I can appreciate the cinematography. It was really well done.
So for me, the score, I felt that it was a personal attack because, oh my god, how dare you start with a piano and then include a violin? That is a weakness of mine. How dare you? So I love the score, but in terms of scenes, mild spoiler alert, it's the scene where we learn more about Swanky's backstory, and that is the scene that makes me cry. I just loved like how the shot focuses on her face and the lighting because it made her seem, she was bearing her soul and telling Fern like this is what I'm doing now. That scene to me was breathtaking in terms of, Swanky opening up and how it was shot. That was my favorite scene. And then at the end, when we see her one last time, when we see where she got where she wanted to go, yeah, I'm gonna get emotional talking about it, but definitely, everything that had to do with Swanky, I loved it. And I really liked Frances McDormand's acting because it's I'm kind of used to seeing her in these very like, dramatic roles that or comedy. I'm used to seeing her constantly be like, oh, you know what I mean? And here she's so calming and very like it feels like she's not even acting, like she's just talking to these people, just hanging out with these people. I really like her acting in this film. She's a great actress. I love her work, but I love how different she was in this film compared to her previous roles. But yeah, I really have I love the movie in general, but those are two things that stand out to me.
Yeah, I totally agree. The score is an assault on the senses and your emotions. Because I remember warning you about the violins and the piano because it's just it fits it so well, especially with the cinematography. When you mend those things together, it's just a religious experience altogether.
I remember you told me, you were like, so you guys said you, oh my god, this score is so great, Josie. It's like, get ready for the violins. And I was just, excuse me, what are you telling me? And you it's kind of like when it happens, it's like, oh damn it. Because it's already like you're already very emotional. But again, I am a very emotional person. So I don't know if everyone's going to be emotional by this part. I just am. So I was already emotional, and then the violin hits, and it's like, you're down for the count. I needed to pause the movie for a moment because it was an assault, like Josie said, a personal attack, and it's a great score, honestly.
And I think my least favorite part of this film, which I really don't have a least favorite, but just to mention something, is that I think the weakest part of this film is the script itself, mostly because it doesn't feel like a narrative feature. It feels more like a documentary. It has documentary elements with a fictional story mixed with, I mean, again, these are real people playing their real personas. And I guess that would be the weakest part of the film, but it's mostly because everything else outshines the story itself. So really, I can't say anything bad about this film, so I'll hand it over to you guys.
I fully agree with in terms of the script. It really is nothing extraordinary. To me, the film honestly felt like one big improv, because since they were real people and they were telling their real stories, you really don't need a script for that. It's just them, telling their what happened to them. So to me, yeah, I agree in terms of the script, because there's really nothing else that I didn't like about it.
I completely agree with the script. I definitely feel it was one of the weaker aspects. The only thing I didn't like um, is that I was eating while watching this film, and I did not know there was a scene, mild spoiler, with Frances McDormand and a bucket, and I lost my appetite at that moment. So I do not recommend eating while watching this film. It just won't fit.
Okay, so general recommendations. Clearly, I guess that the best way to summarize this entire review is that we do recommend the film. It might not be for everyone, but it does have some good takeaways, and there are definitely aspects of it that you will admire. You don't have to be a cinephile or be into films themselves to appreciate this film, because it's a good moment to just enjoy life. It's a good moment to reflect on everything, especially the times we're living in now, and just appreciate everything you have, and not just the physical, but also the emotional, the spiritual, just relationships. And yeah, I really like this film. It was one of my top films because I saw it in 2020, so it was one of my top films of 2020, and it's currently one of my top films of 2021 as well because I'm cheating. It's a 2021 release, so I don't care. Any last words before we go?
Yeah, to me, I think the reason why I love this film is because it also reminded me of the Florida Project, because it's all like the Florida Project has it's also kind of very similar in terms of what it deals with. This in the Florida Project deals with people who can only afford to live in motels. And we see it through the perspective of children. But obviously here it's like different, but also kind of like the same way in terms of how it criticizes, society and capitalism and all of that. So I think that was also part of why I really love Nomadland, because I love the Florida Project. So if you liked the Florida Project, you're definitely going to like Nomadland, because it feels the same way. It feels like a slice of life. So if you like that, then Nomadland is definitely going to be the film for you.
Great. Another thing we would like to leave you with before we go is that I guess we can say that we are definitely looking forward to The Eternals even more now, considering Chloe Zhao is directing it, and with recent reports that the action scenes are going to resemble the Revenant style. So this film allows us to give you a thumbs up to look forward to the Eternals.
Honestly, the Eternals is gonna hit different. I was already excited for that film, but now I'm just like more like it's just more than I already was. So no.
I'm confident this will lead into a new era for Marvel, and they're definitely going to take risks, and it's going to look good.
I haven't seen Gemma Chan in person or Angelina Jolie in their suits. I'm just not ready, but I'm also like, I need this now on an IMAX screen. Like, I just know visually that's just going to be amazing.
And that's all the time we have for this review. Please check out Nomadland, currently streaming on Hulu. Also, make sure to like and subscribe to the Film Posers YouTube channel. Listen to us on any platform where you listen to your favorite podcasts. Also, you can follow us at Film Posers on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Until next time, remember, we're all film posers. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.